5% to L'Oreal, 5% to LVMH, 5% to EssilorLuxottica. Now add them up. The total doesn't equal control. That's the whole point. Listen, stay with me on this. Earlier this week, Italian press reported, La Repubblica first, Bloomberg picked it up, that the Armani heirs are considering selling the first 15% of Giorgio Armani Spa by splitting it equally between three preferred buyers, 5% each: L'Oreal, LVMH, EssilorLuxottica. The Armani will require the heirs to sell 15% within 18 months, up to 54.9% within 5 years, sold to the same buyer that takes the initial 15, with priority to those three names. No firm bid has been filed yet. The CEO, Giuseppe Marsocci, is preparing a 5-year business plan and appointing 2 advisors to lead the process. That's what was reported. Now here is the structural angle worth pulling out. This is not a sale. This is a defense. When you split the first opening stake into 3 equal slices of 5% each, you are telling the market one thing: nobody is going to control this company. Not L'Oreal, not LVMH, not EssilorLuxottica. Each of them gets a seat. None of them gets the steering wheel. It's the opposite of the LVMH playbook. Buy the brand, integrate the supply chain, run it from Paris. This is the Armani playbook. Let the brand stay independent, even after you have started selling pieces of it. Designed by the founder, not a template Italian heritage brands follow in general. And the question, who will own Armani, may be the wrong one to ask first. The first question is, who gets to control it? You see it clearly in the structure of the deal. Now watch this. 3 buyers, each capped at 5% on the first opening. In Italian corporate governance, a 5% stake gives you disclosure obligations and a seat at the table, but it stays well below the thresholds that trigger meaningful control. Formal control of a listed Italian company starts kicking in around 30%, where mandatory tender offers apply. The 3 preferred buyers, taken individually, sit at the disclosure and board access level, not the control level. Even if all 3 buy in, 15% total of a company where the foundation and the heirs together still hold the overwhelming majority. No buyer alone is decisive. The CEO, Marsocci, stays in charge of the operating plan. The advisors are appointed by Armani's CEO. On the seller side of the table, let that sit with you for a second. This is what corporate succession looks like when the founder wrote the will against the buyers, not for them. Quick one before we go deeper. If this is landing for you, hit the like. And if you made it this far, leave a ring emoji in the comments. Those who know me know why. For everyone else, stay curious. You will figure it out. I do not read this like an M&A analyst. I read it from where I sit. Italian mills on one side, German-speaking brands on the other. I sit in the middle every day. Here is what I see from the supply chain side, which sits next to the M&A story, but not inside it. When an Italian maison stays independent, the buyer-supplier relationships stay the way they have been built, often through agents, often through family-run mills, often through long-term arrangements that aren't written in contracts, but in trust. When an Italian maison gets acquired by a luxury group, the manufacturing typically stays in Italy. Made in Italy is part of the brand value. The buyers don't move that. What changes is the structure of how the brand buys. Direct contracts replace agency relationships. Procurement teams replace buying directors. Sometimes the group acquires the supplier itself. Luxury groups have been buying tanneries, weavers, and embroiderers across Italy for over a decade. The supply chain becomes more vertical, more formal, more concentrated. So when I read that Armani's will tries to keep the brand independent for at least 5 more years, I don't just see a family decision. I see 5 more years of continuity for the Italian agency, supplier, and mill network behind that brand in the form it has today. That is not visible from the M&A desk. It is visible from where I sit. So 3 things to take from this. 1. Read the structure, not the headline. Splitting the first stake into 3 5% slices is a defense move, not a sale move. The will protects the brand from being controlled, even while pieces of it are being sold. 2. If you are buyer side and source from Italian heritage brands, Armani stays independent for at least the next 5 years. The supply chain behind it stays where it is. That is operational stability for your sourcing roadmap. 3. Watch who Marsocchi appoints as the 2 advisors. Their profile will tell you whether the heirs are preparing to defend the structure or quietly to dismantle it. That is the next signal worth tracking. I want to know what you think. If you work with Italian heritage brands, do you see Armani's structure as the Italian model that protects independence, or as a slow goodbye disguised as a defense? Tell me below. And one more thing before I let you go. Yesterday, LVMH staged Dior's cruise show at LACMA in Los Angeles. Jonathan Anderson's debut cruise, with the American market clearly in frame. Today, the Armani heirs are reportedly splitting their stake to protect the Italian structure in Milan. 2 completely different responses to the same luxury slowdown. Attack the customer or defend the structure. The next video looks at what happens when the structure under both moves cracks, the actual mill side. On my right, when it goes up. On my left, yesterday's video on the Dior cruise show in Los Angeles and why it was a commercial move dressed as a creative one. Stay curious. Talk soon.